Well, welcome to the Friday free for all. Sorry, guys, we're late. I'm having a conversation with my wife. As you guys know, my mother-in-law is not doing well. But so yeah, welcome to the Friday free for all, where we talk about Texas Texans Vikings game this week, and then talk about anything you want after that. Um, so sorry, guys. High production value. I'll tell you that right now.
Vikings, let's win this game. Score Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Score Vikings, let's go.
So yeah, so it doesn't look like anybody. I think I saw maybe two or three people picking the Vikings to win the game.
Oh yeah, we're back to that.
Yeah,
Yeah, nobody's picking the Vikings. I mean,
which is fine because they
it's not expected from the national media. I do.
Yeah.
My God, the Jets won last night. They won on Monday, or last night, as a matter of fact. And all of a sudden, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They played a pathetic Patriots team. My God.
The Jets fans are buying the Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah. Which is fine. Let them buy them. They're just going to have let down at the end of the year. It doesn't matter.
So, yeah. And then, well, there's some interest. There's some interesting. Like Mixon, he's probably not going to play. The Texans are down to a third string center.
Yeah, and they have now. Who's going to play running back for him? Is that the dude? I can't even pronounce his name.
No, the guy used to play for us, Cam Akers.
I thought he was on IR.
No, Cam Akers is playing. Their first two string running backs are hurt.
Yeah, that's Pierce and Mixon.
Yeah. So they said Cam. From what I saw, they said Cam Akers was starting.
Okay.
And all you hear about when I was watching previews of the game, and all they talk about is like the Texans this, the Texans that. It's like, yeah.
The only thing that scares me with the Texans is C.J. Stroud. That's it.
But here's the thing, though. Would you agree that Purdy knows how to read defenses?
I should hope so.
So, and see, he's been in the league longer.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the Vikings scheme confused Purdy and Shanahan, why do people think it's not going to confuse C.J. Stroud?
Because C.J. Stroud is better at improvisation.
Right, but that doesn't mean it's not going to confuse him.
It doesn't.
I would agree that San Fran is a much better offensive coach.
It doesn't mean it'll confuse him. What it does mean is he'll have to improvise, and he's just as dangerous he's even more dangerous when he improvises. He can move. He's mobile. He will run. The kid broke the mold with Ohio State quarterbacks.
Yeah, but Purdy can move too.
Purdy cannot move like he can't move. He can't move like Stroud.
And Jesus, Flores put a spy on Purdy.
But okay, that spy was probably who? Ivan Pace?
No, Cashman.
Cashman?
Cash.
Okay. You can't put Cashman on Stroud. You probably the one you would have put on Stroud might have been Pace, but Stroud is a different breed. I'm telling you right now, he's a different type of quarterback.
Right, but what I'm saying though is that he hasn't, because people like when San Francisco played the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Jets they're not going to move out of their formation. They are who they are. This is what you're going to get.
Right.
There is no other defense like Flores' defense.
Yeah, but so far we played two drop back quarterbacks.
I wouldn't say Daniel Jones is a drop back quarterback.
Daniel Jones sucks as a quarterback, period. But
I know,
we
but
played Purdy is a drop back.
Yes,
Purdy
but he could.
is that old school style of quarterback.
Yeah, he's a drop back quarterback who can run a little
Right.
bit.
CJ Stroud can drop back, but CJ Stroud can move. And
Right.
he's accurate on the move. So I mean, it's for Flores now, he's got to find a way to contain him.
But I'm just saying, it's just like it's all about what the Texans can do. That's all I heard. Was the Texans
I
can do
watched
this?
the Bears. I
The
watched the
Texans
Bears
can do
game.
that.
And I watched the Bears game, and I was not impressed with the Texans, but they are well coached. I like D'Amico Ryans. I like what he's doing. That interior, that offensive line is just as bad as ours. They don't even have a Brandel. One guy that I work, Laramie Tunzel is their best lineman, period. So I don't know who lines up on him.
Well, Dallas Turner's out.
Dallas Turner's out.
Turner's out. Ivan Pace is out, and Addison is out.
Yeah. So, by the way, can I just make this point? Nobody should wear 0 because you're going to get hurt. Don't wear 0.
I didn't even know he must have got hurt in practice.
They said he was limping heavy at practice. Yeah, it was after the game, but they said he was limping heavy as the week went on, and he just got worse. So he sits out this one. We're going to need him for the Packers. So hopefully he's back for the Packer game. But, we got a ton of linebackers. So I'm sure Flores right now is coming up with a scheme to get everybody in the game. I think Asamoah is going to play more. Expect Josh Metellus to play that linebacker spot. Expect Metellus to play closer to the line this week.
I would imagine that he might be because are they going to play Kruger at middle linebacker?
Kruger Hill,
over Asamoah.
Mm-hmm.
So would he be the starter?
Most likely,
That's kind of a drop off.
He's a veteran. For some reason, Asamoah can't get it. He's special teamer. He can't get on the field again. Right. I don't know what it is. So, maybe I don't know if they call up anybody from practice squad.
Well, they signed. What's his name? Quay Alexander.
Thule or whatever.
Well, no, they signed Quan Alexander.
They did sign Quan Alexander?
Yeah.
Who did he play with last year? Wasn't he with the Texans last year?
I don't remember. But they signed him, and they also signed that other guy. But they signed the one guy to the practice squad to replace, Quan Alexander was just a free agent. Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of shape is he in, too? That's not him.
But they're definitely going to get – see, that's the thing, though. I know he can scramble, like you said, but they're definitely still going to be able to get pressure on him.
Yeah, and what'll happen is you get the pressure on him, but you still have to find a way to contain him. He'll get his yards rushing. He'll probably be their leading rusher for the day. I don't see them being able to run the ball at all, especially if they're down to their third center.
Third center and third string running back.
So, and then it's up to the Vikings to
and they haven't played. They really haven't played anybody.
No, just the Colts and the Bears.
Right.
And neither one of them, both of those teams have been really underwhelming so far early in the season.
Yeah.
Especially the Colts.
And I don't know where this notion came from that the Vikings defense is not physical. Like, where did that come from?
I said that. They're physical now. They haven't been physical the last 2 years.
Because they're like, oh, well, the Bears defense is physical. That's their advantage that they have over the Vikings defense. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, they're still going by because this year I have noted. I even
this team is way different than last year.
It's way different than the year before.
Yeah,
it's actually more physical, and I have said that. They're something this year. They're actually dictating the game instead of being dictated to, and they're coming out and they're hitting. Now that type of physicality, cause more injuries as we've seen. But to come out of the gate and start hitting folks, San Francisco wasn't ready for that, and it showed.
So another thing I noticed is that all this praise for Derek Carr, okay,
Mhm.
but yet they're still like, oh, I don't trust Sam Darnold. They're essentially the same quarterback. Carr and Donald have essentially the same history. Carr's might be a little bit better because he's in more of an opportunity. He's been with better teams, but you sit there.
Carr wasn't a number one.
Well, no, but neither was Darnold. Darnold was third.
Carr was after Carr was damn near what 15th?
I don't know, but Sam Darnold was three, and you could see why he was drafted 3 with some of the plays he's made so far.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Sam, he just was in dumpster fires for teams.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, people are like, oh, it's Sam Darnold will,
They're waiting for the bottom to drop out. They're saying that,
but not for Derek Carr bottom to fall out, which is what's happened. It happens all the time for Carr.
But also, where's Derek Carr playing? Whose ass do they kiss? They've been kissing. They've been kissing New Orleans' ass since friggin' Katrina. That's the national media. Or no, I take that back. That's ESPN.
There's one guy on ESPN who likes what he sees from Sam Darnold, and it's the guy who actually played the position.
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
He's the only one. He gets shot down every time he says something.
Yeah.
And the one that shoot him down is the Jets fan, Stephen A. Smith. Fucking Jets ain't been relevant since Woodstock. It's the media has their darlings. The Vikings aren't even in anybody's top 5. And you see the teams that are in the top 5, and you're just like, really, 2 games, and the teams you got.
Well, the Vikings are the lowest I've seen the Vikings in a power ranking is 19th.
Power rankings are stupid.
I know, but I'm just saying. They have the Vikings 19th. They got teams that are 0-2 in front of them.
I know.
They still have them last in the division. What the fuck have you seen from the Bears that makes them better than the Vikings so far?
Honestly, what have you seen from Detroit and Green Bay? That
makes and I said this, and you guys know. Hold on a second. Let me. Before we get in YouTube trouble.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me loose.
Okay. What did I say before the season? Everybody's saying Caleb Williams is going to one of the best positions in the NFL. Okay. They were saying the receiving core. What did I tell everybody? Keenan Allen never stays healthy. Guess who's fucking hurt again?
Keenan Allen.
Oh, Roma Duzé. As I said before the season, what the fuck has Roma Duzé done in the NFL to make people think he's a top 5 receiver? Nothing. What's he doing in the NFL so far? Nothing.
That's true.
So it just drives me fucking crazy that Chicago. Caleb Williams is fucking awful this year. Now, partly it's not all his fault. That offensive line is fucking horrible, but he has not looked good at all.
Caleb Williams is in above his head.
Right.
He is in above his head. You can look at him and tell he don't know what the fuck he's doing, and he acts like he's this great motherfucker. He's not.
When he's trying to do what he did in college, it doesn't work in the NFL.
It doesn't work with a bunch of grown ass men.
Yes.
You're no longer playing college ball, kid. You're in the pros. You got motherfucking defensive ends that are faster than you.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing when they talk about rookie quarterbacks coming to the NFL, they're like, what's the one thing that surprises you most about the NFL? The defensive lineman being just as fast as me.
Yeah. And Davey, you're right. Chicago has been QB purgatory. And I have a feeling with Caleb, it will continue to be QB purgatory. They can't get that position right. They just can't. It's bad when the greatest quarterback in your team's history was playing during World War II.
And your second best quarterback in history is Jay Cutler.
That's pretty bad.
So I that was my Chicago Bear rant. Because I got killed. There's another guy who does Viking content who came back on me and Keenan Allen saying he's not hurt that much. Well, my eyes say that he's hurt all the time. Okay. Yeah,
the injury report says he's hurt all the time. Right. Shit.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's played in so many games. Okay. How many of those games did he play in? Did he get hurt?
Put it this way. Outside that 217-yard performance he had last year against Minnesota.
Right. And by the way, the only second, I think that was like the fourth game he played that year. That was
the fourth game of the year.
Yeah.
He missed how many?
Yeah. He missed more than he played.
Thank you. And plus, he's old. I mean, come on.
Right. And DJ Moore is not a number one. He's a number two.
Moore's a number two. And here's another thing also with Chicago. We haven't hit Chicago weather yet, and that field gets tore up.
And DJ Moore is already frustrated.
Yeah, he's already frustrated. He was frustrated at the game Sunday. He was frustrated.
So the Bears defense is good. Bears defense is always good. That's why they're known as the Monsters of the Midway. That's the one thing Chicago's always had is good defense.
And they haven't always had good defense.
But when they haven't had good defenses, that's when they do their 4-12 and their 3-13s, because they've never have an offense.
They've been 4-12 with good defenses.
Yeah. And they've never had an offense. So I just don't, and not granted, maybe I'm looking at purple tinted glasses. The Vikings are 2-0. They're looking good. I understand the Vikings are going to lose some games. They may not even win the division. Sam Darnold could turn into Sam Darnold, whatever like that. I get all that. But I guess I'm just tired of the narrative being it's always the worst case scenario for the Vikings when they talk about the Vikings. But when they talk about every other team, it's the best case scenario. Like the Packers. Oh, the Packers did. The Packers moved up in the power rankings.
Okay, first of all,
the quarterback of the team you played threw 3 interceptions, 3 dumb interceptions. If he doesn't throw one of those interceptions, and they win that game, probably because I know a couple of them were in the end zone.
They have been. Here's the thing. They make the Packers out because many of those same people missed that whole Lombardi era. So there's the aura of Lombardi. That's it. By the way, Lombardi was coaching in Washington when he died. He wasn't even a Packer coach. And they've been lucky enough for the last 30 years to only have what, 3 franchise quarterbacks. They've got 3 Super Bowls. There's this nostalgia thing with Green Bay, the frozen tundra, all this other bullshit. It's like, give me a friggin' break. It's a 1-horse town. Everybody drinks at the goddamn bar, and that's it. There's nothing else to do in Green Bay but hang out in Walmart.
Jordan Love has had 5 good games in his career. That's it.
He has what?
5 good games. His last 5 games of last year.
Yeah, he got hot during the playoff stretch.
Yeah.
He got hot during the playoff stretch.
Quarterbacks get hot. Flacco got hot when Baltimore went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he got a ring out of it.
So, but to sit there and say Jordan Love is going to be on the same level as Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, that's all they have. That's all they have. All they think they're this quarterback factory, but goddamn, it's like, give me a break. Between Bart Starr and Brett Favre, you were a dumpster fire for basically Green Bay was Chicago when it came to quarterbacks, and then they got lucky. Yeah. But here's the thing: national media always hypes up the bigger markets. A lot of these cities are bigger markets than the Twin Cities, so they're going to hype up Chicago. They're going to hype up Detroit, Green Bay. It's a nostalgia thing. It's a nostalgia thing with Green Bay. Minnesota's always been flyover country. Always flyover country. They don't give us our props. And now that we're 2-0, it's flawed because we're not supposed to be 2-0 without Kirk Cousins, who, by the way, the national media said we're not going to win with Kirk Cousins. And then when Kirk Cousins leaves, they say we can't win without Kirk Cousins. So which is it, national media? Mainly ESPN. I can see why you guys suck. Nobody watches your damn channel anymore because you're garbage. I I only listen to a select few when it comes to national media.
Yeah.
And there's nobody on ESPN I want to listen to. I'm like, fuck ESPN.
Yeah, CBS is okay. I watch some of their shows. CBS is okay. There's some guys on Fox I like.
Right.
Rich Eisen, Dan Patrick, those guys are
Right.
good.
Hey, can you put up the chats?
Pat McAfee.
Davey's got a good one here about the Redskins. I did hear that, Davey. The Blackfoot Chief's grandson wants to bring it back. Only reason I can think of that is because he was probably getting financial kickback from the team. And it puts eyes on their tribe.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
The Blackfoot tribe.
Yeah.
The whole Blackfoot tribe. This goes back to what I said before. It's a bunch of white people telling other people what they should be offended by.
Right.
If you look at the polls, it was about 65-35. Native Americans did not find the name offensive. They only focused on the 35% that did. The Blackfoot tribe, who, by the way, the mascot of the Redskins that was on the helmet was drawn by the Blackfoot tribe.
Yeah.
So if the Blackfoot tribe comes out and says, "Hey, we want our namesake back," maybe you don't call them the Redskins anymore. Okay, maybe you call them.
Okay, let me put it this way: there was nothing wrong with the artwork. Okay,
right.
It was the name,
right?
The name Redskins, and that's what pissed off a lot of Native American people. We had protests here in the Twin Cities. All the Native American tribes, they hated the name Redskins because it's derogatory. So if you could change it to another name and still honor them, yeah, get rid of the Redskin name. It is derogatory. I'm sure you can find something to honor them.
Just call them Warriors or something.
Which they can't call them the Warriors because Golden State copyrighted the name Warriors. They took the name and now it's there, so you can't use the name. You can't use the name Warriors because it's Golden State has a lock on that name. I said Renegades. I said Orlando back in the day had the Orlando Renegades in the USFL. And their mascot was a Native American.
What about Washington Tribe?
You could go Tribe, yeah. You could go Tribe. You got to, okay, here's the thing, people, and I keep telling people this all the damn time. Nobody's listening to me at all. So I'm going to run the story down to you one more time. This would not be happening at all, name change, nothing at all like that, if Daniel Snyder wasn't such an asshole, okay? This is all Daniel Snyder's doing. Daniel Snyder, all he had to do was sit down and talk to members of the indigenous nation and talk to them. And it's even if it's a PR thing and tell them there's nothing, they mean nothing towards the Native American people or anything like that when the protest started. He didn't do that. You know what he said? Yeah. He said, fuck them. It's my team. I'm going to keep it Redskins. Well, guess what? When his partners pulled out and said, okay, you're not going to change the name, we're leaving and taking our money with us, then he panicked. But he was also an asshole because he challenged the NFL. He was trying to be Al Davis, and he fucked up, okay? So he swore up and down he wasn't changing the name. So when the NFL put the deadline in to change the name, he waited till the last minute, which is why you have the name you do, which I really don't. Commanders ain't that bad.
I don't think it's awful either.
And also why those uniforms are so god-awful ugly, because he never thought that he would have to go through with it. Guess what? That's on Daniel Snyder, okay? And if I was the Blackfoot people, I'm going to be honest with you. With all the bullshit that Daniel Snyder did, the motherfucker was basically Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy. I wouldn't want nothing to do with him either.
Right. No, I get that. But they should have been able to keep the logo.
Here's the thing. He changed the logo because the sponsors were leaving. The money was going.
I know, but it shouldn't.
Like I said, Curtis, to some people, that is a racist name. It is.
No,
racist.
I'm not talking about the name.
It's racist to some Native Americans.
Right. I'm not talking about the name.
Tell you.
I'm talking about the logo. I'm not talking about the name.
Well, a lot of people.
I understand.
A lot of people didn't know the history.
Right.
Of the logo.
Right.
And it took them now, and now all of a sudden it comes out after 50 fucking years. It comes out now.
Yeah.
Really? You couldn't tell us that when you did it in 1972? You're telling us now in 2022 and later, 2023, 2024? All of a sudden, it's a big deal? Come on.
I mean, I understand, like, but here's my issue with it. Okay, I understand that Redskins, Redmen, I can understand how you could, see those offensive. But when the team is literally named after the tribe, it's to honor the tribe.
Okay.
Like Eastern Michigan used to be called the Hurons, from the Indian tribe, the Hurons. Okay. How was that offensive?
Okay. You don't know the history of the Redskins, do you?
Well, I understand.
Do you know the history?
Yeah, the original guy named them the Redskins. It was not a good term when he named them the Redskins.
Okay. Do you know the Redskins were the last fucking NFL team to integrate?
Yeah. No, I know that. I'm not talking
about the 60s.
But what I'm saying is the Redskins, like, they're not the Washington Blackfoot. They're the Washington Redskins. I'm saying, like, all these college teams are actually named after tribe. Like North Dakota Fighting Sioux. How is that derogatory?
Because they get money.
Or Eastern Michigan used to be called the Hurons,
Because it's money.
And they tried this shit with Florida State.
Well, here's the thing. Up here in Minnesota, all the schools that had an Indian name, they're all changed. There's a couple of high schools that still have Indian names. I think one of them is War Road.
Right.
And there's another one, but the tribe in War Road, and I forget which one it is, they wanted to keep the name. But it was voted upon by that tribe in that area to keep the name. Right. Not every tribe thinks that.
Right, I know. But what I'm saying, we had the same people protesting like the Redskins name, protesting the Florida State Seminoles. Just because they protest doesn't mean that they know exactly what they're talking about. Because Florida State, for people who don't know, Florida State can't do anything with their uniforms, with their marketing material. They can't do anything without the Seminole tribe knowing about it or approval from the Seminole tribe. Okay,
so I'm going to put this out there. You're part of the Blackfoot nation.
Nation, yeah.
Okay, guess what? With all the shit you hear about Daniel Snyder, do you want your fucking grandfather affiliated with that shit?
Well, no, that's probably why they didn't bring it up until they got the new owners.
They got the new owners, and they thought by having a person of color on there that they would do it. It's
like, I think Magic Johnson's open to it. If that's really, if the person, I think if the tribe really wants it to go back and they have a discussion, I think by the comments they've got when he first made the team, I think he's open to it.
He's open to. He's not saying anything about it because I've heard him in a say. It's not his say. He's not native.
No, but he's opening to allow. But the question is.
The question: where's the money?
And not only that, would the NFL allow them to change it? Because Washington Tribe with the same logo, that would be perfect.
Or Renegades. They should have just went with Renegades.
Yeah, and then you could still use that throwback yellow helmet with the R with the feathers.
Yeah, the one that Vince Lombardi created.
Yeah, you could still use that helmet.
Or you could just, like Davey said earlier, go back to the spear. Yeah. Not even a spear, a hatchet.
Right.
A hatchet with feathers. That's what the Renegades had in the USFL.
Well, look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They got an arrowhead as their logo. Kansas City, their name's the Chiefs.
Right. Well, and they were known as the Dallas Texans.
Right.
But a chief, anybody can be. Chiefs are.
Right.
Can be a chief.
Well, chief of police, chief of fire. Yeah, but they have an arrowhead as their logo.
But it's always been a Native American thing.
Right.
But it's not. Chief is not derogatory. Redskin is.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I am just saying that. Not everybody thought it was as offensive as other people thought it was.
Well, you're gonna
that's-
have that.
Yeah. That's all I'm going. And this is from a Native American study that I saw. That's all I'm saying. Because here's where I differ. As a white person, I can't tell anybody else what they should be offended by. If you're a Native American and you don't think the Redskin name is offensive, how am I gonna? I should not. And I've seen this. I've seen this like on debate shows. A black person will say, "Well, that's not racist." A white person will say, "Well, yeah, it is racist, and this is why." If you're a black person or a Native American or a Mexican or anything like that, and someone says something and you don't think it's offensive or you don't think it's racist, I, as a white person, there is no way in hell I should explain to you why it's offensive.
Oh, by the way, Davey,
that's the biggest issue today.
Davey, I just want to say I'm a liberal. So,
yeah,
but I know that's what I'm talking about.
He's not a.
I am a liberal.
He's not
and where I talk about this. I had the guy that I played football for, a dear good friend of mine, Chris King, Native American, was full on Native, hated the name Redskins because it was derogatory.
Right.
And he lived with those. They called them names as a slander where he was from, which is Cloquet, Minnesota.
Well, some people think that Redskins is and I saw this because this was in an article that I read about the nickname. Some of the Native Americans think that the Redskin term is almost as bad, if not worse, than Injun.
It is bad.
I'm saying that's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's right. But here's the thing. So you've got a company making money off this derogatory name. They're making billions off this derogatory name. So and I tell people, look up the history of the Redskins. Okay, look it up. That will change your mind about the Redskins big time. About the Washington franchise.
Well, I think
your mind.
Also the 73-0 loss probably changed our mind as well too.
No, George Preston Marshall was an asshole. He was an asshole.
Yeah.
He would not get black players. Would not get black players.
Because I know that's what happened to Alabama, because Alabama was the last college team.
Yeah, you know what triggered Alabama?
Alabama got their ass kicked.
They got their ass kicked by USC.
Yeah.
Ben Bryant wanted to get black players. Matter of fact, when he decided to play USC, he did that on purpose because he knew, guess what? Them brothers were going to beat their ass.
Yeah, and the administration was
going to change their mind. But Alabama wanted to stay white.
Yeah.
They wanted to stay white. John Hanna talks about it, the all-pro guard. He talks about that shit. Yeah, USC showed up with the brothers in Bama and beat their ass.
We'll say the West Coast teams were the first teams to do it.
To do what? Integrate?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, okay. For the NFL, the NFL never banned black people. What happened was you had brothers that played up until the Depression. When the Depression hit, they just decided not to hire any brothers on the field. Yeah. So they went with that. But
the NFL was never as racist as Major League Baseball was.
No. And then when the Cleveland Browns came in, I mean, these were guys from the Naval Academy that Paul Brown had, the Mary Motleys, the Len Fords, Bill Willis's. Well, then also now you went out to LA, you had the Rams.
Yeah.
They had Kenny Washington, Woody Strode. They had the UCLA backfield except for Jackie Robinson.
I think Syracuse was one of the first on the East Coast, I think, to integrate.
Yeah. And they went.
If you ever watched the Jim Brown story, or if you watched
watch the one about Ernie Davis.
Ernie Davis
Express.
You could tell that some of the students were like, "What what's going on here? We thought we had our one token, now we got another one. What's going?
Yeah,
that's kind of what it was." Ernie Davis, man, God, that was so sad. What happened to him?
Yeah, he never got to play it. He never got to play it down.
No.
He never got to play it down.
So that was
the Gophers, even here in Minnesota, back in the day, when we got Murray Warmath, he started to recruit the Southern players.
Yeah.
That's how we ended up with Sandy Stevens, Bobby Bell.
Well, that's what made like the Grambling States and the those. That's what made those schools back in the 60s and 70s. In the 50s was because some of the SEC some of the SEC schools did not allow African American players, but those black colleges had them, and they were beating the bigger colleges.
Well, and also, the only league that looked at the black colleges were the AFL.
Yeah.
So a lot of people bring this up because when Minnesota played the Chiefs in Super Bowl IV, that Chiefs defense, everybody on that defense was black, except for two players, three. Johnny Robinson, Jim Lynch, and Jerry Mays, but the rest were Hall of Famers. And they took it to the Viking offense. And I think it was the speed that did it. Now, keep in mind, one of them players was supposed to be a Viking, and that was Bobby Bell. He went over to the AFL. And then they had Aaron Brown, who was also a Gopher. They had like two Gophers starting on their defense. But they had the speed. That was it.
So I dropped a link in the chat. If you guys want to drop it again, I'll drop it again. So we're going to start breaking people in and talk about what you want.
Wait a minute. Breezy's got one here. They changed Indians because in general, they did that with Duluth, Edmonton Eskimos. I'm in Canada. But with the Indians, now the Indians are weird. The Indians years ago, you know this catch, had that really goofy looking mascot.
The Chief Wahoo.
The chief, whatever it was. And he was really goofy looking. That was...
He was a mixture of like a white guy and an Indian.
Right. And if you ever watch like cartoons back in the day and how they kind of made fun of Native Americans, that was the mascot for the Cleveland Indians. And that was
Cleveland Indian fans were mad when they did that. I mean, they could have came up with a better name, Guardians. I get that. Guardians is dumb.
Guardians is Cleveland history, right?
Well, it's the two gargoyles on the bridge for Cleveland.
Right. They're called the Guardians.
Yeah.
So it's a connection to the city. What are you going to call them?
I know. Some people most Guardian fans don't like the new name.
It's a name. It still sells. I mean, people were worried about, well, now the Vikings are going to have to change their name. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not changing their name. I mean, they're not going to change the name Vikings. But
we have the high school. I didn't go there, but the high school of my hometown is Jupiter. As we know, Jupiter is actually it's an Indian name as well. Mm-hmm. Their nickname is the Warriors, and they have this spear.
That's what it should be,
right?
That I'm fine with.
And we actually have a mural of the city of because it was an Indian. It was an Indian town. It's all everything like the river it's on is the Loxahatchee River. That's an Indian name.
That's an Indian name.
And then we have a whole development in Jupiter where it's Choctaw Street, Cherokee Street, Huron Street, Delaware, which is also an Indian name. All those streets are all Indian streets because it's to honor the Native Americans, because that area is huge Native American. Now, unfortunately, they're not there anymore, but there are still some, but there's not a what do they call reservation. The Native Americans who are in Jupiter are part of the community. You
also have to remember when these teams got their names back in the day, and this is talking way back in the day, we're talking almost 100 years, believe it or not. We were in a different world back then.
Yeah.
A much different world. And it doesn't make it better or worse, but it was different. And if you were melanated, it was really different. So we got to look at it like that.
Yeah. People, here's my big issue also with today. People holding people from 100 years ago to today's standards. You can't do that because it was a different world back then. So
you can't. But when people have made money off of said exact thing for years,
well, no, what I'm saying, like when people go back to, well, this person said this in 1859. You can't. That's the way it was back then. You can't.
you can't change it.
Yeah, you can't change it, and
They
you
said
can't.
it. All they did was what they said it. But
Yeah.
as time got on, you have to evolve.
Stop.
Some people have to evolve. Some people don't want to evolve.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's the evolution. If some of the stuff they said back in 1859, you can't say that stuff now.
No.
Shit we said in the 70s, you can't even say now. But that's the evolution.
Shit
So
you said in the 90s,
the whole
in the 90s, you can't say now.
Yeah, to hold someone accountable for what they said 35 years ago when it was a totally different world, you can't do that.
It's we're in a different world. So now, but you do, unfortunately, now in this society, this time and age, it bugs me too.
Yeah.
But you do have people that are super sensitive about shit. You can't even give them a compliment anymore. And motherfuckers like, oh my God, you're harassing me. Fuck you. Fine. Get away.
See, that's why I was going to make the comment when you said you're a liberal, you're a traditional liberal.
I look at both sides.
Yeah. You're a traditional liberal. You're not one of the new, like, far way left.
No.
Yeah, you're a traditional liberal, which most people, don't have an issue with. It's the very, 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 very far right and the very, very far left.
I got a brain.
That people
put it this way: I got a brain, and I'm not led by the nose by what some millionaire says.
Right. I was watching this debate, and the one guy all he was doing was stating like literature and stuff like that. I'm like, man, if I was on that show, I'd be like, did you ever see Good Will Hunting? The guy would be like, yeah. I said, well, do you remember when the blonde guy was trying to steal a mini driver from Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon walked in and says, are you going to plagiarize this whole thing, or do you have any thoughts of this on your own? I was waiting for somebody to say that, but they never brought that up.
Yeah.
What up, Zoe?
What's up, Zoe?
My God.
I gotta feed my dog. I'm gonna bring T-Bass on. Then I'm gonna shut my camera mic off because I gotta feed my
What's
dog.
going on, Zoe?
Man, T-Bass coming on?
Yeah, you jumped on.
I just put him on.
I ain't got time for that shit. Man, I'll be back when T-Bass go off, man.
What's up, Joe? No, but you were talking about USC and stuff, and Bear Bryant, Tony.
Yeah.
Ever see the interview what Reggie Jackson said that when he was in the minors in Alabama, Bear Bryant went to a game, and after the game said to his face, "We need a big N-word like you at Alabama." I mean, unbelievable.
Well, that was the way they thought back then.
Yeah,
and it was Alabama.
Unbelievable.
It was Alabama. And here's the thing. Bear Bryant, by saying what he said, and he's old school, he didn't know any better, but what he's saying is, if I want to compete, I need to get some brothers.
My guy Eric, what's the deal?
He did, and that was how he said it. And then, for him to say it like he said, well, yeah, that's also 1967. And it literally took bringing USC to Bama to get to change the regent's mind, because them running backs that they had at USC just ran that team over and beat them up.
Also, you were talking about USC. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere when Jackie Robinson was I think USC.
Jackie Robinson went to UCLA.
What school?
Jackie Robinson went to UCLA.
Okay. Well, when he was in college, I think I read somewhere he led the nation in rushing, led the nation in scoring in basketball, and he was great in baseball. That's crazy.
He could have played any sport. That's how athletic he was.
Leading the nation in rushing, scoring in basketball.
Yeah, basketball was a different sport back then, though.
Hey, TV.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm about to run to the liquor store real quick. I'm about to hop on live with y'all in 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
and then you're talking about